This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
You have a rich person's name. Like, you should be a billionaire with the name Winfield.
And co-host Marney Winfield.
Checking the microphones, going good.
It is the 21st of July, 2022. My name is Corey Winfield.
My name is Marney Winfield.
And this is the 217 Recovery Podcast. Appreciate you listening. We're going to do shout-outs at the beginning, I think, today.
Okay.
Well, just one. I want to give a shout-out to Chris Goss because he got his 4 months a couple weeks ago. I can't remember if I gave a shout-out to him on the podcast or not. I probably did, but in case I didn't.
All right.
So, congrats, Chris. I'm proud of you. And I need to look him up and, well, not look him up. I mean, I need to hit him up. Maybe have him back on. Be a surprise
I think it'd be awesome.
appearance.
I think he'd be ready now.
Do you think you'd have too much fun?
Oh no, Chris always has fun. There's no such thing as too much fun.
Well, there is.
No, I mean
Chris, there really
you
is.
Know what I mean? Yeah, he's a fun guy.
I'll do that. I'll reach out to him. He might be like, yeah, man, I don't really do that anymore, you know. I'll say, you don't want to do your 5 minutes alone? That was fun. And if you're just tuning in, never heard that, in 2019, that was? Early 2020, Chris was on the podcast. And if you have the app, or if you want to go on the website and scroll back a lot, it's easier to find on the app if you want to go back and listen to the previous years. But he had a segment where he would just, it was Chris, 5 minutes alone. So he would just like start talking about whatever. And every time he would do it, I would stand up and leave the room for 5 minutes. It wasn't out of disrespect. It was just like, I didn't want him to feel like I was critiquing him. Because I would have. I won't think I could have let him talk for 5 minutes because I like to talk too. So that's kind of why I stood up and left.
Well, it's a skill that he has. I mean, he can, and I want to say ramble in the very most loving way possible. You know, and it was always stemmed, came full circle to recovery. It's about recovery. It's about, what he was up to. And he talks really fast. He's adorable.
Yeah, he's a trip, and I miss Chris. And people ask me often, what's Chris up to? And how's Chris? You still talk to him? You still talk to those guys? I get asked that a lot. I say no. Not really. That's how it goes sometimes, man.
Yeah.
But I got a wife now, so that's pretty cool. As much as I love those guys, I'd still rather be here with you, obviously.
You're making it sound like I have you chained here or something.
Help! I can't leave the house.
He's sending signals on the podcast.
Wink, wink. Help me. Thanks. No, how was your day today in recovery? Life.
Good. My day was good. I'm wrapping up this semester for school, so that's always a little bit stressful, and. Still filling my houses from opening up that new house. So I'll end up with 62 clients altogether.
Damn.
And we're full. Yeah. So, and people are, people slowly but surely, are finding their own places or moving back to, with their families because they're spending some time to, submerge themselves in recovery homes, because that happens sometimes. Some people actually have a place to go, but they really kind of want to give themselves a chance this time, to really focus on their recovery and in it to win it kind of mentality. That's healthy. And if the family, is supportive, then makes it so much easier for the person that's making that decision, Yeah,
so. You're making that transition out of treatment. And somebody offers, hey, sober living, think about it. It's like you don't have to move in, and that's the thing, it's temporary. There's some places that you can stay forever if you want, but the program that's run there that I think is a good one, it's temporary. And that's so other people can take advantage of it. Because if it wasn't temporary, the people in there right now wouldn't be in there.
Right.
So they have to kind of look at that like, well, why can't I stay forever? Well, if people could stay forever, you wouldn't have a shot to be in here.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of the way that runs there. But I think it's good, but people need to kind of ease into it a little, because I think first, if you're told, hey, you're going to go to sober living, like, I don't want to do that. That was my reaction. Mm-hmm. And the place I went to had a bunch of people, and you've lived in sober living.
Yeah.
How many people were in the house with you when you lived there?
I think there was 9 or 10 the first time that I lived in the house here in Traverse City. I lived in one of the houses that I'm managing right now, ironically enough. But it's kind of, I don't think about it, I guess, anymore. But when I first was like, oh my gosh, this is like, I'm having good flashbacks, because I had a really good experience when I was in sober living here. I stayed clean the whole entire time. I think I stayed for little more than 6 months, like 6.5 months, I think is how long I stayed. And I also lived in sober living when I was in Ann Arbor for a short period of time. I think I stayed there for like 4 months. And there was, I think, 8 other women in that home. So, but I mean, everybody, if you haven't been, well, there's 2 kinds of people that I've run into. It's people that have never been and they have heard of what it's like, right? Mm-hmm. Or people that have been and have had some kind of experience one way or the other, right? Across the board, they're very sort of similar in terms of the structure. And the Michigan Association of Recovery Residences, they actually do implement, inspections to whereas like what do you require of your clients that live here, and there has to be some sort of interaction with the recovery, a recovery programming, including meetings, what kind of outpatient are they going to and where do they get it from. So all of those across the board are going to be sort of similar, but the standards of where they're at, they have to meet a bare minimum to be a certified home, which is good, safe and clean and whatever. But the daily upkeep, I mean, that there's an ebb and flow to that, no matter, where you are, depending on the clients that are living there and stuff. So I'm pretty proud of our homes,
So if somebody was going to open up a sober living and they're like, oh, I need to get this certification through MAR, Michigan Association of Recovery Residences. Mm-hmm. What's the advantage of that?
So I think that there is, first there's a financial advantage, because there's a way that you can actually receive funding from different agencies or programming. So that's a plus. And then it's a recognized certification, so it's not just a hole in the wall, and that people are actually, making sure that it's up to standards safety wise, and there's not like 40 people in a 4-bedroom house, like they don't allow that. And there's not one bathroom for 10 people, and there's enough fridges for as many people that are there. And there's a laundry machine and dryer, and, all the fire stuff works, the fire alarms and thermostats.
Yeah, so, which is good,
Yeah.
And I think that places should be. And if you're going to a sober living, make sure that it is, because there's at least an attempt. There was at least an attempt made one day to make the place clean for someone to come look at it. Mm-hmm. Because ovens won't work, tubs will be falling through the floor, and that's not a good environment. I'll tell you firsthand, that's not a good environment for someone trying to stay sober, because you just say, F it, like whatever, man. And to be at a place where, the shower works, everything works, like that's important, and you want to make sure that it's not infested with bugs and roaches and stuff like that. And, definitely look at that. And there's a list on our website, 217recovery.com, of all the ones in Michigan that are MAR certified. And there's a link to them as well. But yeah, check that out if you're interested in sober living, or if you know somebody who is, definitely give it a shot. And, people that come through the program here in Traverse City, it's just kind of like natural, because you're kind of dealing with the same people. So it makes sense that you're going to treatment and then you kind of go into to their sober living homes, and then, you go on and do your thing. But if you're in Colorado or Virginia or Washington, wherever you're at, make sure your state has something that is certifying these recovery homes. And if not, make some phone calls, talk to your politicians and say, hey, what's going on? Talk to your, I guess, Medicaid people and say, this is something that needs to happen, And again, if your state's not, I would be shocked if they're not. But again, there's 50 states, so I guess I wouldn't be shocked if a few of them.
Well, I know that there is a National Association of Recovery Residences, so whether states have the option to participate in that, that program or not, I'm not sure, but I would imagine. So.
Well, good. I'm glad that you are doing such a great job and the houses are certified. And do you have 62 people, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's not just in one home, obviously.
No.
That's spread out over a few, but that's pretty good. Pretty good little number.
It's a big number. It's a lot of clients.
How do you manage that?
Very carefully. No, I have an assistant who's awesome, Rachel. She helps me out. But I do daily check-ins, just check-ins on each house. And then the structure is set up so much so because we're an agency and it's a part of our agency that there's more kind of hands in it than just our program, right? So like our clients are required to meet with our therapists, and our clients are required to participate in groups that are facilitated by ATS staff. So their presence is kind of kept accounted for throughout the time that they're in the home. Because, I'm not their therapist. And but then we do weekly house meetings that are mandatory. I check in, make sure people are got employment, that kind of stuff. And then there's also kind of a micromanagement sort of situation that's just within the house itself, and it's just part of being a home and, kind of looking out for each other. So lots of times if something is off, then I'll hear about it from another client. It's not because they're trying to get anybody in trouble. It's just because, for everybody to be comfortable and doing well, if you have one person that's, not doing the next right thing, it can mean relapse for someone else. Mm-hmm. So those need to be brought to my attention. And they do, and obviously there's days that are better than others and homes that are doing better than others, but they're all there for the same reason. And it's just, getting grounded and trying to figure out what's next for them.
I think I was lucky when I went to Boyne City because it was just understood that nobody in that house is going to tolerate it. Like if you were drinking, you were the a-hole. There was no, you're narking me out, man. Whoa, man, why'd you rat me out? There was none of that. Mm-hmm. You were automatically the a-hole. Mm-hmm. Because when you came in, Jason, the guy who owns the houses, was like very clear with, this is a recovery home. People here want to be in recovery. You don't want to be here, I'll make sure you're not here very quickly. And so when people would, nobody felt bad about ratting them out, because like you said, it takes 2 seconds to see somebody and go, oh man, like they're drinking and nobody's saying nothing. Well, I'm going to drink too then.
Yeah. And it's uncomfortable, even if it's not trigger enough to make people want to pick up, it makes you resentful and it makes you, and nobody wants to feel that way in their own home.
Right. And I was on probation. I wasn't supposed to be around people drinking.
Right. Yeah.
Or using drugs. So I was like, look, bro, like,
yeah.
And of course I don't think my probation officer would have came up here and thrown me in jail, but that is part of my deal, and I can't be around those people for a reason, and I don't want to be around them. And so are you gonna let it slide and put up with it, which you're hurting that person. Mm-hmm. There was one time this guy, like, he just moved into our room and he had the bunk above me and he was jumping on the bed and he wouldn't shut up all night. I'm like, man, this dude's this dude's on drugs. I think he did some meth yesterday or last night or whatever. And I texted Jason. I was like, look, man, this dude's been bouncing off the walls, man. Like, you might want to go give him a drug test. And Jason wrote me back. He's like, was he sleeping right now? I said, no, he didn't sleep all night. He's jumping around on the bed. You know, they have bunk beds. He's jumping on top of it, you know. And Jason went over there and he just was like, oh, no, you don't need a drug test, man. I smoked meth yesterday, you know. And so Jason's like, okay, well, and he's like, all right, man, I'll leave. Sorry. You know, but it wasn't like this big ordeal of it's your fault. It's everybody's fault. And really, it's the person who used fault.
Absolutely.
You know, there's nobody else, especially if you get out of treatment and you go to sober living, you've got some clean time. You've made a choice at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, my cravings were too bad. Okay, well, you still made a choice.
Yeah. And those are the people that are not, they're not in a good spot in general.
Right,
you know, when you turn around and you're angry because somebody told on you because you're, oh, man, and then you walk out the door and you're like, yeah, I got kicked out. It's a bunch of BS. Oh, really? Why'd you get kicked out? Because I was drinking in a sober living home? Okay.
Yeah, but my baby mama.
But I asked them to not say anything, and, you know, and then they could turn around, well, this person was doing this, and that person was coming in after curfew, and that person was, and it's like, this is not a game. We're not, you know, worry about you. But at the same time, if you worry, and I say that like this, so I will say to clients, how much do you care about your sobriety? Ask yourself that, because if you care about your sobriety, you won't tolerate having somebody else who's using or drinking in your home. If you care about you and where you're at, you want to have the best environment possible for you. So use that as a reason. And then people are like, oh, yeah, I guess. Mm-hmm.
I wonder what, because you said sometimes they'll get mad. And there was one guy that got real mad. He was yelling at Jason, like, oh, it was kind of stupid. But I wonder what because anger, obviously, secondary emotion. I wonder if they're feeling embarrassed they got caught.
That.
Or if they feel ashamed of them getting caught, or ashamed of them drinking, ashamed of the choice they made. So that's why they turn it into anger, so they don't have to, like, take the blame. And I guess that's probably where it would start, in saying that, well, they're not ready and they should probably get a little bit more treatment, whether that be outpatient or inpatient. But a lot of times I think the guys get mad, oh, F that, I don't need that place. And then they just walk away, you know, and they go right back into that hell fire of a life for a little while. They usually end up coming back, though, and then I think they feel kind of stupid. At least I would.
I was having that conversation at a house meeting the other day, and I was like, the people that are like, this is bull, you know, BS or whatever, I don't need this crap, I'm leaving, F this place, blah, 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 and pack their bags and leave. Not one of those people that have left on those terms, I can't say one of them left and they're like, I heard about later on that they're doing amazing. Not one. Not one of them.
And I think that goes into what, you know, I just said. You know, I think because it all starts with them, whatever's going on, like I said, embarrassed.
They're mad at themselves.
Yeah. But they can't blame themselves, so they blame the other people. But then they make this big, like, scene or do whatever, or say whatever, you know, and then they feel stupid. And they're like, well, I can never go back there. You know, they, like, exile themselves. When really, like, we get it. I get it. You get it. We've been there. Yeah. You know, we know exactly what happened. I know exactly. The lady that runs Mar kicked me out of her house.
Yep.
I was like, all right, I'll leave. And she's like, leave my driveway. And I said, nope. So I'm not driving. I'm smashed drunk. Like, I am not. But I agreed. Yes, I should leave. You know, I thought I was pulling fast.
I never asked you this. What made you think it was okay to drink in a sober living home?
I was at a miserable point in my life.
Why didn't you just leave and go drink?
I don't know. I remember I had went to this job interview for a forklift driver, making, I don't know, $12, $13 an hour or something like that. This was in Grand Rapids. And I did not want to work. I did not want to drive a forklift. And I don't know. My whole point of even being in Grand Rapids was stupid. It was for somebody else. You know, it was just bad decisions. And I remember I had an interview with a radio station in North Dakota, which I do not want to live in North Dakota. Never have, never will. And I was like, man, stupid forklift job, you know, I got it or whatever. And I was like, I didn't want it, but I had to do something, I guess. And I was driving home and I was like, man, I got to get ready for this interview in North Dakota on the phone. And I stopped at the store and I was like, I'm gonna get a couple fifths. And I did. And I put them in my bag and I came up, and like a day or two after I moved in, my roommate moved out. So I had this whole room to myself. I didn't really need to leave the room. I was like, I think I was peeing in like milk jugs or something, or I can't remember. I was peeing in something. So I didn't have to like keep going in and out of the room to go to the bathroom to make it obvious, you know? And I had like a little tablet I was watching TV shows on or something. But I did that interview and, I was pretty drunk. And that's probably why I didn't get that job. But I had really no desire. It was just one of those things like, all right, well, this will get me out of this situation. And, you know, a lot of people say, once I get a job, I'll be fine. You know, once I can, you know, just make a little money and then I'll be good. Which is a lie. You know, that's just the disease telling you that you can still keep drinking. Mm-hmm. You know, just get some money. You'll be fine. Well, the money isn't going to go towards rent. It's going to go towards drugs and alcohol. That's a little tip. That's free. Mm-hmm. That's what happens. So just because you're making money, you know, no. So my mom, I guess from how I was not responding to her text, because I wasn't even talking to her. I was like, nope, I'm not talking to nobody. You know, I learned my lesson by that point to like stay off social media, stay off the phone, don't start texting people. And somehow she got a hold of that lady and said, Corey's drinking. You need to go check on him. And the lady walked in and she's like, are you drinking? And I said, yep. She's like, well, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. And I said, okay. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. And as I said earlier, I had 2 fifths and I had one. I think I drank one and I had the other one under like this blanket that I had on. And so I grabbed the blanket and I walked to the bathroom to go pee and I slammed the other fifth while I was in the bathroom. And by the time I got out of there and walked back to the bedroom, grabbed my stuff, holy hell, it hit me bad. I mean, I'm surprised I made it down the stairs. And she was like, do you want your food in the front? Nope. I was like, everybody in the house can have that. I was like, there you go. Because I didn't want to, because I was just like, I cannot stand, you know, like, holy cow. Like, it was insane. So then she's like, well, you need to leave my property now. And that's when I was like, no, I'm not. Because it's something about if you have the keys in the ignition, they'll arrest you for drunk driving. And I was like, I'm not putting the keys in the ignition. You know, I was like, I'll just sit in my car until the morning and I'll be out of here, you know? And she's like, no, I'm going to call the cops. And then at that point I was so drunk out of my mind, I barely remember, but I was telling her though, that I was writing a book and I was undercover, or I was making some crazy ass story up about how I was going to expose her. And I was writing a book. I remember telling her, I know.
I'm so glad I did not know you when you were drinking.
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't know myself.
You sound like
either.
one of the, no.
Well, because she kept telling me, she was like on the phone with her. She's like, I'm calling the cops. I was like, whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't like yelling at her or nothing. I was just like more smart ass. Like, I don't know. It was
not one of your finest moments.
No, but I just couldn't believe though that the person who ran that, and maybe she's changed her tune now, would tell somebody who's drunk to drive out of her driveway. You know, the liability on that and the insurance, like, that's insane. Like, if something would have happened,
I would never do that. I would say, do you have somebody who can come pick you up?
Yeah, like Jason DeBeck, like if that happens at Nathan's house, like, he will drive you to a hotel. You know, like, he will take you somewhere because he doesn't want you to be around the other guys. But like, to just be like, well, drive out of my yard, you know, drive out of my driveway, that's crazy. And she called the cops, and the cops were like, Wait, so you want us to come because the drunk driver won't drive out of your driveway? Yeah, we'll put that on our list, but it's at the very bottom. Like they didn't care. They never came. There's trespassing, but he's not being violent. He's not hurting anybody. He's just sitting in his car. Okay, sounds good to us. Like, thanks. Like, we have other crimes to really go stop. But yeah, you know.
Do you think that if she wouldn't have come in your room, you would have stopped?
No. If I would have got a roommate, I wouldn't have drank in there. But I mean, it all happened how it was supposed to. I'm glad it happened. I really am. You know, and I tell people today, I'm like, yeah, I got kicked out of sober living too. You know, I wasn't an ass about it. I mean, if you talk to her, she'd probably tell you, oh yeah, you said he was writing a book or some dumb shit. But okay, yeah, I did. And I was freaking hammered drunk too. And yeah, I get it. That was stupid. That was dumb. But at the same time, you know, like I should have been treated like a little bit more with, I guess, compassion, and maybe not compassion, but just common sense, like to not let someone who's smashed drunk, like drive out of your driveway.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
No, I definitely don't
like
agree
I said,
with
if
that.
someone happened, it wouldn't have not been good for her. I don't think she'd be running MAR right now. I don't think she runs it, but whatever her job is, I don't think she'd have that. Mm-hmm. It would not have been good, but
she's the chief compliance officer.
Yeah. So she wouldn't be doing that today.
Well, she did the right thing. So, but except for the telling you to drive.
Yeah, she didn't.
But I'm saying telling you needed to leave.
Yeah. And I was totally like, yep. I'll leave. I don't know why I didn't just take the fifth, and I don't know. I guess because I didn't want to be like, I'm sitting in the car drinking. You know? I don't know. I don't know what was going through my mind. Like I said, I was already 1/5 in, so it wasn't a wise choice. But yeah, I don't know when I would have stopped then, and I didn't stop. I think a few days later, I ended up back in Pine Rest in Grand Rapids, and yeah, I did, because then when I left that time, I told Pine Rest that I didn't have anywhere to go, and I wanted to see if they had any options, and they were just like, no. It's like, okay, well, normally there's like a discharge plan. You kind of make sure I have a safe place to stay. I just told you I was sleeping in my car, and they're like, yep, sounds good. See ya.
Oh.
It's like, oh, but I just had a shitty case manager that time. That guy I wasn't a female. You know, he seemed to pay more attention to those. And I don't know, I went back a few more times after that, and I never saw him again. So I don't think he really made the cut.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, Pine Rest, I mean, that's a good place. And I had there's good and bad about any place really, but it's kind of what you make of it when you go in with the mindset of, okay, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to learn about myself, figure out what's causing me to do this, and peeling back the onion until you can get down to the core of it to figure out what is keeping you stuck mentally. You know, I mean, obviously we know the physical part of it, you know, that sucks, but there's a mental part of it too. And I think a lot of people have a hard time with accepting that because they feel like they're broken, or they don't want to have something else wrong. You know, I remember I used to have the doctors, I would try to get them to tell me I was like bipolar, or that I needed ADD medicine?
ADHD.
Yeah. I needed some of that, and I needed all this other stuff, and
you didn't need some ADHD. You mean you wanted them to diagnose you as that?
Yeah, because I thought I needed something. Because at first, like I said, I didn't need any of the medicine. When I was in California, I'm like, I don't need any of that. I just drink. And then it flipped to, well, there's got to be something else wrong with me. I must have this, or I must be bipolar. And luckily, I had a good doctor in Grand Rapids, and he told me, no, I'm not going to put you on anything like that, especially bipolar medication, because you have to be on that for a long time, and probably maybe the rest of your life. And we won't even know until like 2 years. It wouldn't even be right for me to diagnose you with that. You need to be clean for 2 years. So if you know somebody, or maybe you've been to a doctor and you're like, yeah, I went from straight addiction to the doctor, and they said, yep, you're bipolar, and put me on medication. I don't know. Because everything I've heard about it and learned about it, even going through treatment, you can't diagnose someone with that. And, oh, yeah, but I can do this and that. And again, it's easier. Use it as a scapegoat. Well, that's why I do this, because I'm bipolar. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be something like that instead of, Corey, it's your fault. You know, and not that I'm a bad person, and not that I'm saying it's my fault because of the bad things that I was doing, you know, by drinking, but just the fact that it was my fault for not peeling back the onion, for not wanting to dive into the real problems and the real things that were going on. You know, still wanting to walk around like, nope, I'm fine. I'm still better than everybody else. Just a little drink problem, but no big deal. I'm good to go. Normal. And when I finally accepted that, no, I'm not normal, you know. After so many times of treatment, you finally start to accept it. And then you really start to dig into it. And the things that I've learned at each place that I went to, you know, it moved me forward a lot. Even though my mom will tell you, no, it didn't feel like it because, you know, 2 weeks later you're out drinking again. And no, but I did learn something at each one. But I met this guy yesterday. We were doing the outreach, and he came up and he wanted a pamphlet for the treatment center, and he said he was going to help some other people out. And we started talking, and he was telling me that he just drinks beer, so he's good. And I said, yeah, I remember those days. And he said he drinks like 15 a day, and I was like, yeah, I remember those days. I was like, then I switched to liquor again, and that's when my problem started. My problem was already there. You know, that's a lot of beer. And I explained to him, you know, it wasn't what I drank, it was being drunk. You know, like, oh, I just drink beer. I'm happy drunk. Okay. You know, the hard liquor gets you there way quicker. And then it takes you overboard. But I kind of broke it down for him too, you know, because where he's at in life right now, and he was kind of explaining to me his living situation under a tree. And I said, there's other options, man. You know, like, yeah, you drink beer. You don't have to be as bad as that guy over there. You know, like, there is still a better life out there, you know, and you can go live it, you know, if you want it, you know. And he finally kind of understood what I was saying. He's like, yeah, you know, like, I'm going around trying to help all these other people, and I can't even help myself. And I just kind of chuckled and said, yeah, you know, you have to help yourself before you can help anybody else. And so he took a pamphlet too. And, you know, I don't think he went to treatment, but he's thinking about it, you know, and that's kind of the thing we're trying to do with outreach, you know, is show up, be a friend, say, hey, what's up? You know, and let them know that I'm not trying to sell them anything, you know, just want to show them that there's hope, you know, and that there is a better life out there. And I mean, sleeping under a tree might work for some people, but after a while it gets old, I would assume. He's telling me how stuff got stolen again, you know. It's just like, bro, like, there's a better way, man. You know, there really is a better life out there, you know. And look, don't look down. He said you've never been to treatment. Don't look down as it's a bad thing. Like, oh, you're going to treatment, you've lost, you've been defeated. You're already defeated. You know, drugs, alcohol, they got you. Got your way. You're living under a tree. You know, they got your ass. As my friend the chief would say. But yeah, so hopefully they can get him in when he does call. But it's a pride thing, I think, for some people.
For sure.
You know, and just the not knowing and not knowing what to expect. And
so you talked about your low experience in sober living, but then you also had a positive experience in sober living. You left there successfully. Yeah,
Nathan's house. Yep, and then it kind of went negative again, but that's fine. No, not like that, though. Then, which actually, at the time, was a positive. I was crushed and excited at the same time. Like, my pride was hurt, but my soul was happy. Yeah, Nathan's house, it was good, man. It was hard. Not hard, but there was a lot of guys. I think 16 or 18, one of those numbers. And it was just a lot of dudes and a lot of people in and out. And it felt like I was there for 20 years, and it was only like 6 months. It was crazy. And I just remember thinking, man, I need to get out of here. And then a chance came for me to co-manage a sober living home just down the block. And I was like, you sure he wants me to do it? And I'm like, yeah, man, likes what you're doing with the, podcast and what you're doing and stuff. So, I'm like, all right. So I did. And Ryan Beckman, him and I were close at that time. And he was the other co-manager. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I ended how it was supposed to, but yeah, I started a life with you.
Yep.
Which was the best thing ever.
And so, I mean, in environments like the house you went to after Nathan's house, and there's a lot of requirements, right, for you to do, and a lot of commitments that you were expected to do. And you just did all those, right? And sometimes you did them because you didn't want to.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, and I would, I don't know. When I was the manager, it was really weird because I started to look at people different. From being just somebody who's living in sober living, like I got used to putting the blinders on where I wasn't worried about what other people were doing. I was just doing my thing. I'm doing my job. I'm hitting my meetings, writing goals out for myself. That's one thing that Jason has to do every week. We had goals and, what are you doing to get there? And what things did you do to get there? It wasn't just lip service, and he'd save them. And next week, if you said something you thought you were BSing, he's going to remember it. And he'll bring that sheet back and go, okay, well, this is what you said last week. What'd you do? Nothing. Well, you put on here you were going to call Dave's tree service and you were going to apply for a job or whatever, and do, I never got around to it. Why not? You wrote it down. You told everybody at this table that's what you were doing. Well, was busy. And Jason would bust your ass, and it was very uncomfortable. But those people, and it didn't happen a lot, but that really helped. But so at the other house, though, it was kind of the same thing. The guy who opened that house just pretty much borrowed everything from Nathan's house. And, we weren't too hard on the guys, but when you start managing the guys and you realize that everybody is at a different spot.
Yes.
Not everybody's at the same one. Some guys have like, wait, you don't know how to do this. And then you realize, no, he doesn't. So how can I help?
Right. Sure.
Like how can I be of assistance? And I would take guys to the food bank, and then it became fun, like taking guys to the food bank because there were the good food banks in Northern Michigan. Don't be letting the pride get in the way, like that's the thing, like around here in Traverse City too, like nobody in a sober living home should be hungry at all. There's 3 different places they can go and man, that's good stuff. It really is. So, people that are in sober living and, I got no food and they start eating other people's food. Unless they are just completely unaware of the food banks, which I'm pretty sure you explained to them, hey, here's where you go. Here's the days. Here's the list.
There's a whole packet of the days, the ones that exist, where their address, where they're at, and when they're
that's just
open.
Laziness. Yeah. Well, I couldn't get a ride. Oh, please. If that was a drug or your alcohol, you would get a ride, wouldn't you? No. Yeah, shut up. Yeah, you would. Like it would be so easy. Like, look, man, give me a ride up to the Salvation Army on Mondays. At noon. Let's hit that. If you're available, you have a car, or I could walk, whatever. But you give me a ride, and I'll make sure to give you like a bag of the chips or a box of the ding dongs. I'll give you a box of ding dongs if you give me a ride to the food bank. There's trades you can work out, So it wouldn't be that hard to get a ride up there, especially if the person's going with you. It lives there too.
Everybody can utilize food bank. You don't have to be like, they won't turn you away. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So you go to the food, you take somebody there, then you can get stuff for yourself too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think you need to bring your ID. Some of them want your ID. Write your name.
That's it.
Because they have like, Like some of them you can go to like once a week or once a month or twice a month, or there's like a limit.
Yeah.
But if you have circumstances, and it all depends too. I mean, if you have a family of 5 or 6 or something, they're going to give you a lot more. They're going to let you come probably a little bit more. They're going to be more lenient. But yeah, don't let that pride get in the way, man. There's help out there for people, and definitely take advantage. The food bank in Buchanan, Michigan, it's a small one, and it's ran by some really good people who care. But the selection in Southwest Michigan, just nothing like it is in Northern Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Chris Goss and Tyrone, they'd be freaking out. Like, are you kidding me? Like, Chris, he would get excited. Like, he would love it when the new guy would come in the house, and he'd be like, all right, so we going to the food bank? Because he knew, like that was one of the first things I did was like, all right, let's go to the food bank, get you some food, and we didn't have anybody eating other people's food. Well, the one guy left, Van, he left, and he was mad because I threw his popcorn away. He had popped some popcorn, put it in a brown bag. I've seen that done before. And they just left it on the counter. And that's not the way we were trying to live around there. So I threw it away. And he's like, that was community popcorn. Community don't want your popcorn. I can't believe it. And then he's like, somebody ate a piece of my pizza. It was like an old, Little Caesars pizza, and everybody's like, "Nah, dude, nobody ate your." I mean, there are the fridges. You've seen them; they were stuffed with food. Mm-hmm. Like there was food everywhere in that place. So we were like, "Nah, nobody ate your cold ass 3-day-old pizza that you had in there." I'm out of here. Okay. Hope he's doing fine now. But anyway, that's kind of a long podcast today. Mm-hmm. So. We'll just wrap it up. We got a little deep there. Went back into some stories.
Yeah. Y'all got lots of stories.
Yeah. But that's the truth. That's how it happened.
Yeah, but if you're getting out of treatment, if you're going to treatment, think about following it up with a recovery house after. Mm-hmm. Just Google it. There's resources on our website. You can even do, I think, recovery housing in and then put the county you're in. That will sometimes pop up depending on where you live. But yeah.
Maybe you want to get out of that area. Mm-hmm. I would advise that.
Yeah, for sure.
Helped me big time. But thanks for listening, and tune in on Saturday as we dive into Marnie's life.
Hey, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. Don't forget to check out our special episodes found only on the 217 Recovery app.